Hi, I'm Star. And that's Emily. She's carrying all the letters we've received about the zoo. And today we're going to read some of the letters about our friends here at the zoo.
Star, isn't this great? Oh, look at all these letters that have come in.
Wow. So stay close to us and you can learn and play.
With what you see on Zoo Today. Star, a letter to Jake the lion.
So what does it say?
It reads, Dear Jake, you are my favorite animal at the Toledo Zoo, and I'm not lying.
That was witty.
The letter continues, I take great pride in knowing that you are the king of beasts.
Oh, I can see where this is leading.
I wanted you to know that you are my main man. So let me give you a roaring approval.
Who's the letter from, Emily?
It's signed, Your friend Linus, the Cub Scout.
Appears that she had an infection involving the brain. So what we're doing today is we're reimmobilizing her, doing some further diagnostic work to see if we can find the cause of the problem. We think possibly it could be due to infected canine teeth. These are the large teeth that the bears use for grasping their prey, and we did root canals on them several years ago, and possibly there's an infection that the root canal procedure has broken down. This is the dart and needle that we use. We use a long needle because they have a couple inches of fat on their rumps, and we have to go through the fat and get the drug injected into the muscle. This is a hydraulic table that just operates with a electric pump, and it'll just raise the animal up and down to the level we need to work on her at. And 26 minutes since it was done, and it's 92 on the oxygen saturation. Okay, we're going to need to put her on her side. What we're doing here is taking dental x-rays, trying to look at the base of the root. If you want to come closer here, you can see here's the two bottom canine teeth. Normally they're about this long. She had broken them off many years ago, and here's the silver amalgam where we did a root canal and then put the filling on. And we're looking at, there's a little spot right there. It appears that it's a fistula, which may be going into the apex, the tip of the root of this canine tooth. This is Dr. Paul Heinrichs, the dentist who has worked with us here at the zoo for almost 12 years now. Yeah. We really appreciate all of his work. Why don't you go around? Some of that gauze. This would be the crown, the mouth part. This is, you can see the filling that was put in before. There's right at the bottom of the root. We're trying to look for some cause that over a year's time could lead to some chronic septicemia, bacteremia. And so the thing that comes to our mind is possibly a root canal infection. So that's why we're looking at that.
Now, what was the clinical appearance the last time?
Those were exactly the same.
Just exactly. You didn't see any more swelling? You didn't see any exudate coming out of them?
No, they were just carbon copies of this stuff.
Okay. Any pain, difficulty eating?
She's not experienced that at all. Good news and bad news. Good news is we'll have to go in and do a root canal. Bad news, we're still kind of a dilemma what's causing the problem. Here's the area that's been filled, and we're looking for this area is here because if there was an infection, that would turn to go black, which means it's eating away the bones. This is both sides. They're both together on those.
We put in a little rubber point so we could see where the infection was coming from. We inserted that into the fistula. So this thing is broken off.
It's going to be on her belly for that, right? Is that what we did last night?
Yeah, let's do it so it's the same. Is there
Flop it right
anything,
over
nothing
there.
else we need to do? I mean, just finish this.
Finish it up with the
Okay,
revision.
finish that and then
I don't know that it would be helpful to redo the root canals. I can't see anything wrong with them or any sign of infection, but I would like to know where that's coming from. You may want to lay a flap there and see if there is a hole in the bone, if there is something underneath there. If we can trace where this is coming from.
that's the spot we were concerned about before.
Is it as big as it was?
It doesn't look
We can.
quite as feathery.
Is this the one from last time? What we're looking at here, this is the view of the skull. This is this is the lower jaw, and this is the brain cavity fits in. The brain actually fits in here. It comes to about this point, and this area here is very radio opaque versus this area you can see more black. And this was the X-ray that was taken a month ago, and we were concerned there could be some infection or a tumor going on in there, and now it almost looks like it's involving more of a space there. Based on our diagnostic work this morning, it does not appear that there was a infection in any one of the teeth. So it's still unknown what's been causing her problem.
Hey, Emily, listen to this letter. It's from 3 sisters, and it's addressed to Rafiki the elephant. It says, "Dear Rafiki, my sisters drive me crazy. They're always wearing my clothes or borrowing something. How do you get along so well with the other elephants?"
Boy, that sounds familiar. I remember the daily whining and crying and the arguing at my house.
Hey, I didn't know you had a sister, Emily.
I don't, but I always wanted one, so I would practice in the mirror.
We're in the room in the basement of the birdhouse with Janet once again. Janet, why are these 2 birds down here?
Well, they fledged out of the nest a little bit early, and they were still kind of weak, and they couldn't fly around too well, and the parents weren't taking care of them. So we brought them down here to finish weaning them.
What type of bird is this?
This is red-throated gaudy barbet.
Well, that's a mouthful. And this is brother and sister.
Right, these guys are from the same clutch, yes.
Okay, and then across the way over here, we have another sibling.
Right, this is from a different clutch, and this baby's about 5 days old.
5 years old. Wow, the same family though.
Right, the same type of bird. And the reason we pulled him back here is because it was too cold for them. They've bred outside, and so they're outside right now, and it's too cold for them outside. And also the parents weren't taking very good care of this one either.
Is this pretty normal for zoos to hand raise birds like this?
Yes, it is. But this bird, we think we're the first in the country to be hand raising this type of bird. We were the first in the country to breed this type of bird.
Wow, that's quite a job. And Kathy is here hand feeding.
Right, she's. As
Him or her, I don't know.
We're not sure yet, no.
Do all brand new baby birds look like that? I mean, it almost looks like, you know, it has just a film of skin.
There are 2 types of baby birds. There's altricial, and they're hatched without any feathers and with their eyes closed and basically helpless. Then there's precocial chicks that are like ducklings and ground birds. They're usually born with all their feathers and able to walk around and with their eyes open.
And what is Kathy feeding her right now?
Right now she's feeding the wax worm. She's going to feed him a wax worm right now. And we kind of mush it up for him so it's a little easier to digest, kind of like the parents would.
So what all will he eat?
Right now he's getting the wax worms, cricket abdomens, which are the crickets without any heads or legs. This is what we're feeding the baby fledgling gaudy barbet. He's getting pinky parts, some wax worms, some blueberries. We take dog food and soak it in vitamin water. And also, he gets cricket abs, which are basically little crickets with their heads and legs pulled off, so that it's easier for him to digest. Because the parents would probably beat it till it was all smushed up and then feed it to him. Soaked dog food is usually the staple for all of our baby birds because it's very high in protein and it's basically got all the nutrition that you need. And we soak it in a vitamin water so that it's till it's got, full of moisture, and then we pull it into little pieces and it's easier to feed that way.
I noticed when Kathy is feeding it that she kind of whistles like maybe the mother would do?
Right, since his eyes are closed, we make little vocalizations for him, and if that doesn't work, then if you tap their bill a little bit with the tweezers and they feel you coming towards them, then they'll open their mouth for it, because he's got to kind of go by sight and feel.
Now,
I mean, by noise and feel.
Now this guy's brother and sister across the way, is that as big as they'll get?
Right, those are about 2 months old, so you can see how fast they grow. Most of your passerines will grow that fast.
And how warm do you have to keep?
He's at about 74 degrees, between 70 and 75. Is that about right? Higher?
93.
Oh, it was
93 degrees.
74%, sorry.
Humidity.
We keep them 90 to 93 degrees, and the humidity is about 70 to 75%. And this is just a regular baby human isolate that we keep them in.
So you are actually hand raising him. Does that mean that keepers have to be here around the clock?
No, usually, especially with this species, if they're like real good eaters like this, we feed them like 6 times during the day, and then they can usually go all night without eating, and then we feed them first thing in the morning. So we feed them first thing in the morning and last thing before we leave.
Is that his food? I just saw on his throat. His skin is that transparent that you can actually see it.
Right,
down
you
right
can
in
see
there?
that his crop is full right here. If he puts his head backwards a little bit.
So his neck or under his chin is called the crop?
Right, and you can see the food in there. He's so cute, isn't he?
Hey, check this out. A chimp who paints. Bet you didn't know that Harvey, one of the chimpanzees at the zoo, is an artist. Really? Harvey's strokes of genius are part of the zoo's enrichment program. Maybe he's expressing his innermost feelings, or maybe he's just having fun. Chimpanzees are one of the great apes. Chimpanzees range in height from 3 feet to 5 feet. An adult male chimpanzee weighs about 110 pounds. The chimpanzee's body is covered with long black hair. Like the other apes, the chimpanzee does not have a tail. It has large ears and its arms are longer than its legs. In the wild, chimpanzees live both in trees and on the ground. They spend over 50% of each day in the trees. They sleep in tree nests made of branches, leaves, and twigs. You may have heard something, but I bet you didn't know.
This is a female Sykes monkey who has got a fractured incisor tooth. Incisors are these teeth in the front of our mouths. Their teeth look similar to a human's, and also the number of teeth they have is the same. If you look here closely, you can see this is the normal tooth, and this is the one that broke. And when it breaks back far enough that it exposes what's called the pulp cavity, that's where the nerves and the blood vessels are. When that occurs, then we have to go in and do a procedure called a root canal. And what we'll do is we'll take a small file, go inside that cavity, clean out all of the dead tissue, and then we'll put some chemicals in which will tend to kill all the bacteria. And finally, we'll put a little bit of silver amalgam over the tip. Here you can get a chance to see her teeth. These are what we call canine teeth. They're used for grasping and tearing, holding on. And the teeth in the back of the mouth look similar to ours. They're the premolars and molars for grinding up for grinding up food material. But you can see how much longer these are compared to the rest of the teeth and also compared to us. Some of the great apes, like gorillas, and even some of the monkeys will have canine teeth that may be an inch long. Again, this is Paul Heinrichs, the dentist who has worked with us for the last 12 years here at the Toledo Zoo on dental procedures.
Radiographically, there's a possibility that the right central incisor is fractured also. Although I can't detect any mobility, there's a fracture line on the radiograph.
Here's Oh, here's the sharper.
That's fine. That just
Did you get
confirmed
into it?
everything. Yep. It's definitely fractured all the way into the nerve of the tooth. So what we're going to have to do is a root canal to clean out the dead tissue and the inflamed tissue inside of there and fill it up and seal it so it doesn't get infected.
Again, the importance of looking at all the teeth. This is the one that's fractured visually. You can see here's the normal looking incisor. Here's the one that the tip has been fractured off. But when the dentist looked at this x-ray, they noticed that there looks like there's a fracture line here. This is a black line. So it looks like this tooth is broken off farther down, even below the gum surface. I've never seen one break like that.
That's not real common.
The one tooth that's broken off below the gum line, it's not very movable, and we're hoping that it'll just heal on its own without us doing any additional work on it. We'll check her back probably in 6 months and make sure that it hasn't got infected. But we will do the root canal on the one that's visibly fractured on the external surface.
The first thing we're doing is smoothing the tooth out, smoothing off the sharp broken edges, and also we're gaining access to the nerve of the tooth on the inside so that we can file it out and clean it. Next thing what we'll do is use various size files to go inside of the nerve of the tooth and clean out the damaged tissue. Right now I'm using my sense of feel to tell how far I am in the tooth. I can feel what appears to be the tip of the root. I'm only going in that far, trying to scrape all the tissue out around the edges. And now we're going to take the x-ray.
And there we go.
Everybody ready?
The x-ray shows the files almost exactly at the tip of the root of the tooth. Now we're putting a zinc oxide eugenol sealer paste inside that'll help seal the inside of the tooth when we fill it with the rubber material or gutta percha in just a moment. Here's somewhere.
Be very quiet. The koalas are resting. The koalas are marsupials, which means that the female has a pouch, like a kangaroo.
A koala feeds almost exclusively on leaves of the eucalyptus tree. An adult male eats up to 1 pound a day.
Eucalyptus leaves have very little nutritional value, so the koala must conserve its energy by moving as little as possible. Here at the Toledo Zoo, fresh leafy branches of eucalyptus are flown in twice a week from Florida.
So remember, kids, koalas need their rest. And koalas are not bears. They're marsupials. Oh, here's an interesting letter, Star.
What does it say?
Dear Alex and Eddie, caught you on Zoo Today the other week, and I'd like to be your pen pal. I know that being vultures is not easy. It's hard being a little different. Sometimes I act tough so people won't pick on me, too. And just because you guys eat the dead stuff is no reason for anyone to treat you coldly. I've been known to knock over a garbage can or two myself. So stay cool and keep your beaks up.
Aw, who's it sent by?
Rodney the rat.
Harvey used to be in an act when he was growing up, and he used to have to ride a bicycle. He used to have to answer questions yes and no. So now if you watch him, he actually answers correctly. Yes, you're a good boy. Chimpanzees are not monkeys. The easiest way to tell is they don't have tails. They're related to the gorillas and the orangutans, and they're all great apes. Because these guys have no tails, you know they're great apes. And that's the easiest way to tell. There's my bud. I wondered where you were. Now you're going to hear lots of noise. Told you. But when he's off exhibit, we do different things to entertain him. Chase is his favorite, where he runs in the cage and the keepers run on the outside. We also do a lot of grooming with him, where he'll groom us and we groom him. And then we do the painting. Are you going to paint for me? Are you going to be a good boy? I'm going to cheat today and see if we're going to do it my way. You paint. Don't eat the paint. 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 No. I don't care that you wiped it all off. You paint. You're cheating. Put it on the canvas, Harv. No, I only do non-toxic, but he's going to goof off for the camera. Like I said, normally he and I do this as quiet time, where it's just something to enrich him and to play. His favorite colors, when he's not eating them, put it on the Harvey, put it on there. Paint with it. There you go. Paint with it. You're goofing. Purple is his favorite color. Red's his second favorite. If he's in a good mood and he's actually painting, when I get these out, he actually talks and gets all excited. What I normally do is put it on the paintbrush first and then let him play with it. He normally doesn't eat all of it. When Harvey's done, he's very good about giving me the supplies back. You gotta paint first. That was half-hearted. You're not even paying attention. You're not even paying attention. Starving artist, you gotta give him treats. We're gonna try this one more time. Paint with it. Actually, in our group, we don't have a dominant male. Harvey's not dominant. And because he's not dominant, you have to paint. No, you're not done. We already had a male named Coco who was the dominant male. And we had the females we have now in with them. And when Harvey was introduced, he used to challenge. Well, thank you. He used to challenge, and instead of fighting him back, what Coco would do is stick the 3 females on him, and the 3 females would beat him up. So he got to the point where he became afraid of the females, and when Coco died, Harvey still was afraid of the females. And when he tried to challenge, all 3 females would still beat him up. So Mickey is actually our dominant animal, even though she's a female, and only dominant males are allowed to breed, so we have no breeding. He's moved up in the group. The last 8 years that I've been here, it's been neat. When I came in, he was definitely last behind everybody. He's moved up to the point where in the group he's at least 3rd, and depending on the situation, if he's alone with one of the animals, then he can actually move up where he's above certain females. He'll never be above Mickey, but he's actually above Fifi and Ellie at different points, which is neat to see. You painted me. You didn't paint that. The other thing Harvey loves to do is groom. What did you do? What did you do? You painted me. Ellie loves tennis shoes. And if you have a new pair of shoes, any of the keepers that walk in with new shoes, she just has a fit because she sees that you have new shoes. So they might pick up something on you. But anytime they blow you kisses or acknowledge you like that, they are doing it because they like you and they like something about you. Yeah, we hear ya. Chimps are one of the most dangerous ones to work with just because they're really grabby and very aggressive, and it takes a long time for a keeper to develop a rapport with them. Enough. Oh, stop. Most of the keepers haven't gotten to the point where they can actually sit right in front of them. I mean, it's taken me 8 years to get to the point that I can really sit with a lot of the animals and not be grabbed by them. You can see that their hands come out. Yeah, sure, good boy. Come here, Harv. Come over and paint. With chimps, you actually have to get to a point where you become accepted by them. Are you going to paint for me? Are you going to be a good boy? Well, that was useless for painting. That was bad. That's not a good Harvey painting.
Here's this week's cool critter question from John Fraley of Toledo. John writes, "Dear Zoo Today, how far can a wallaby jump?" Here's your answer, John.
Thanks for your question, John, on wallabies. As you know, the wallaby is related to the kangaroo, which is more or less a cut-down version. A wallaby's leap is called a slow walk. It's from 1.5 to 3 feet. That's their version of walking. When in full flight or being chased or pursued by dingoes, a wild dog in Australia, their flight can go from 6 to 10 feet and sometimes up to 12 feet at speeds of 35 miles an hour. Thanks again for your question, John.
Remember, kids, send us a letter with your question and address it to Zoo Today, Cool Critter Questions, P.O. Box 4010, Toledo, Ohio 43609. We'll choose one question each week and have it answered by an authority at the zoo. So send us your questions today.
These were some great letters, weren't they, Emily? Emily?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just reading a letter I got from a big fan.
Oh, yeah? What does it say?
Dear Emily, you are doing a fantastic job. I'm very proud of you.
Did you write that letter?
No! It continues. Listen. Don't let Star pick on you so much. You are a better person than that.
I don't pick on you,
Wait,
Emily.
there's more. There's more. You have a beautiful smile. Oh, and by the way, you have a dentist appointment on Tuesday.
Dentist appointment?
And I'm not picking up after you again.
Emily, that's a letter from your mom.
I told you she's a big fan. She writes me all the time. You know, and I'm glad she reminded me of that dentist appointment. Because I would have forgotten, and my teeth do need a good old cleaning. It feels so good after the dentist looks on and makes sure I don't have any cavities. I have been flossing a lot.